Hey guys, what's going on? It's your boy, the Mad Kiger. And up here today, guys, I've got a pretty interesting video, hopefully, for you guys. So 2020 has been a bit of an all-around year for gaming, with everything that's been happening in the world. These last couple of years, though, we have seen some fantastic games return, and a lot of old games are coming back. Games like Crash Bandicoot and Spyro came back to this world. The Resident Evil remakes, you know, The Last of Us 2. There's so many great games that have had, been around for years and just sort of died off, and then they came back. And today what I'm going to talk about are some games that I think would really benefit from coming back to today's generation. Now, some of these game series that I have just games that haven't had a game in years. Other games here have never had a sequel or a prequel, but could really benefit from one. Like I said, this video isn't necessarily a focus on these games. These games deserve sequels or remakes. I would just like to see these games that I show get a new game in the series, whether it's a remake or a remaster. But to be able to play it on the PS4 or Xbox One or Switch or something. But I've just got a bunch of different games. And like I said, these are more based, if the game is a part of a series, I mean it's a whole series. But we're going to start off with the Croc series. Now, there were 2 Croc games on PlayStation 1. I'm going to be honest with you, I haven't played this in years. I played it as a kid. I loved it as a kid. Now, I will say this. I did see a post on Facebook and Twitter saying that there is a talk about Croc being open to a remake, to get the similar treatment that Crash Bandicoot and Spyro did. It would make a lot of sense because, now obviously this was actually distributed under EA, so I could definitely see, EA maybe teaming up with some of the people that did some of the work on the Unravel games, or, some of their platform-based games. To be fair to EA, I did try out that Rocket Arena last night and it was pretty fun. So, EA aren't a bad developer, producer or developer, whatever they are, distributor. But I would really like to see a new Croc game, whether it be a new Croc game like Croc 3 or just a remake of the first and second game like Crash Bandicoot got. I don't know. Croc would really benefit from one because this was another sort of classic platform game from the PlayStation 1 era that not a lot of people talk about. And yeah, this would really benefit from something new. However, like I said, there is talk that could be a possibility. So we never know. Up next is a game that has no surprise, and that is SSX. Now, we have had a few new snowboarding games like Steep and stuff like that, but we haven't had an SSX game since the Xbox 360 game. And that game was a little bit on the more not as fun side. It would be really cool to see a modern version of SSX with modern graphics, modern controls, however, still retaining that really fun arcadey feel. Just imagine it, because how wacky and crazy it could be with online capabilities, a sort of like customizable character, different, all these boards, I obviously was part of EA big, so EA get on SSX. I think SSX would really benefit from either a remake of one of the older games or a trilogy or even just a new SSX game. It would really be a fun one because a lot of people love SSX. And Tony Hawk is getting a remake of Tony Hawk 1 and 2. So it's not like these old sports games. I say sport, like extreme sports games, don't have enough love for them to get a modern version. Speaking of sport games, I've got here SEGA Rally Championship. Now, there are a bunch of modern day rally games. There's World Rally Championships out there. There's the Dirt Series, of course. There's V-Rally. But SEGA Rally Championship is, in my opinion, one of the more fun arcade games. You know, most arcades that I've been to have at least one SEGA Rally Championship. Now, there was a SEGA Rally game released on Xbox 360 and PSP and PS3, I believe. And that was a really fun rally game because it retained both arcade and a little bit of simulation, and it balanced it quite well. Now, Sega, it's not like Sega aren't developing games at the moment, because they are. But Sega, man, get on SEGA Rally Championship, because I think a lot of people would love to see SEGA Rally Championship make a return, whether that be a remake of the older game or just a new Sega Rally game. Like I said, you hit it on the nail with Sega Rally Revo on the Xbox 360. So it would be really awesome to see a new Sega Rally game. Up next, we have Mercenaries. Now, I know Pandemic Studios was shut down, but Mercenaries is a really, really fun game. This game's kind of like a mix between Saints Row, a little bit of Just Cause, Total Overdose. It's an open world game where you basically play as all these different mercenaries, and you just go around causing havoc, doing missions. Made by Pandemic Studios. Again, EA, we know that you have a lot of these old IPs still in your backlog. So a new Mercenaries game would be really fun. Or maybe, you know, like a remake of Mercenaries 1 and 2. Now, they did give away one of the Mercenary games on Xbox One a couple months back for free with Xbox Live Gold. And of course, there was that whole picture of Han Solo in a Mercenaries game that was trying to hint at a Han Solo game. But, you know, it kind of made me feel like Mercenaries would be a really fun game to get a modern day equivalent of. I guess we could say that Just Cause is very similar to Mercenaries, but Mercenaries was what was great about Mercenaries was you just had all these different playable characters. Again, Agents of Mayhem could be classed as a similar thing, but it'd be really cool to see a new Mercenaries game. As is the case with Driver. We haven't seen a Driver game in so long. I think there was a couple on Xbox 360. San Francisco, I believe, was the last one. I could be wrong. But Driver would be a really fun series to come back to. Now, like I mentioned in my previous video about open world games, Driver was a mix between sort of like Fast and Furious and GTA kind of thing. You know, you had fast cars and driving and chase scenes and stuff, but it also had, like, you know, sort of like a open world feel to it. A new Driver game would be pretty fun. I don't know how many people would want a new Driver game, but again, it would be really cool to see a new Driver game, whether that would be a traditional racing open world game or whether they'd mix in with sort of stuff. I know, like, Need for Speed experimented with some sort of action-based games and stuff like that, but it would be really cool to see an official Driver game come back. As is the case with the Getaway. This was a Sony-owned game, and, you know, the Getaway was kind of like a really interesting game because it took place in London. It was all based around, like, gangs and stuff. And there was a game called Gangs of London on PSP, which was very similar in gameplay to the Getaway. But in the Getaway, you play as a cop. Obviously, this is the second one. There were two Getaway games, and these games were pretty fun for their time. I would love to see a new Getaway game, because I think that there are so many untapped games out there that would really benefit from bringing them to the modern day audience. Now, I know a lot of people are saying, well, the new Watch Dogs is set place in London. Could that be classed as a Getaway game? No, definitely not. Sony could definitely do a Getaway on the PlayStation 5. I think that would surprise a lot of people. As is the case with True Crime. I already talked about True Crime in my previous video. I really enjoyed the True Crime game, and I'd love to see another open world True Crime game, maybe set in somewhere different, you know, not just in America, maybe true crime London, well, that'd be Getaway, I guess. True crime in maybe Las Vegas, I know it's America, maybe in true crime in like Germany or somewhere completely different that you don't expect to see a cop-based open world game. I'd love to see another true crime game, the whole concept of being able to go out and do something new, be a cop, you can be a good cop or a bad cop. That'd be really fun to see. I'm in a bit of a cop mood as of late with watching the Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Up next, I've just bought the Simpsons. The Simpsons haven't had an official video game since the Simpsons game on Xbox 360. Now, I've just got here Bart versus the Space Mutants because it's the first one that I saw. Of course, it's not a really great game. It's kind of a bad game. I don't know actually. I don't know how good the Sega Mega Drive version is. I love these cases though. I'm a big fan of The Simpsons, and I know a lot of people really would want a Simpsons hit and run remake, and there's that whole it's happening, it's not happening, people remade it in dreams, all of this stuff. But I would love to see a new Simpsons game. I don't really know what they could do with it. I know that EA is still working on the Simpsons Tapped Out mobile game, but I don't class that as an official Simpsons game. You know, Simpsons Hit and Run, Simpsons Road Rage, and for me personally, the Simpsons game were some of the funnest games that I had growing up. And I'd love to see something new with the Simpsons. I don't know what they could do with it. Do you know what would be amazing? And I know this is going to sound really stupid. An open world Simpsons RPG game. Imagine that. Kind of like, you know, like in the Simpsons game, in Simpsons Hit and Run, you could explore. But you could actually play as your own Simpsons character. You could customize them in the Simpsons universe, explore Evergreen Terrace and some of the other places, have a huge not Evergreen Terrace, but Springfield, sorry, and just have an amazing game. You know, it could be like a GTA style game, but like an RPG where you go off and you do missions for Homer, and you might have to work with Barney or Mr. Burns. Just imagine that. Imagine an open world Simpsons game with customizable RPG elements. That would be amazing. I would buy that. Will that ever happen? I don't know, because, you know, I think that Fox and Disney obviously have the Simpsons games, mostly EA, but I think Disney, if they put their mind to it, they could really work on an open world Simpsons game. That would be amazing. Kind of a really odd one here, but I'd love to see a new Smash TV game. I know that game Xenocrisis or something, whatever it's called. Not Xenocrisis, there's a new one. Can't remember what it's called. I know there have been Smash TV clones out there, but I would love to see an official updated version of Smash TV. Even if it was like, you know, like in Call of Duty Zombies, you had that Smash TV mode, Call of the Dead mode or whatever, Zombie Ops or whatever it's called, Arcade, I can't remember what it's called, but Dead Ops Arcade, that's it. I'd love to see a new Smash TV game, maybe like with modern updated elements, upgradable characters, all of that stuff, but still retaining that classic feel that Smash TV had. They could just do an updated version of Smash TV on modern consoles and sell it on the store for a couple of, you know, like $10 or something, 10 quid. I'd buy it, you know what I mean? It would be really fun to see a modern version of Smash TV, because I love the whole idea of Smash TV, the whole, you know, inside the TV studio. Up next, we have Dead Space. I know this isn't an official Dead Space classic style of Dead Space, but I had to put this on here because even though I'm not the biggest Dead Space fan, I've played them all, apart from this one. But I'd love to see a new Dead Space game. You know, I think Dead Space was a great horror game and deserved a lot of recognition for what it did. But it would be awesome to see a Dead Space game that, you know, is more open-ended kind of thing. You know, it does have sort of like a Mass Effect style of Dead Space kind of thing, where you can go, you have like your own ship and you can go between different planets or different ships and obviously find all of these different crazy things. Just an idea, I don't know. I'd like to see another like light gun Dead Space game as well, but I would love to see a new Dead Space game. I think Dead Space is a really is a great series that has a lot of potential to be more than just a video game. You know, they did do some animated movies and some comics and stuff like that, but I'd love to see more Dead Space in a game where it has that sort of modern style to it with open-ended gameplay and sort of like an open world feel or an open space feel kind of thing. I think they could do it. They could do it if they wanted. Kind of another weird one from Sega, but I'd love to see House of the Dead done again. There are 4 House of the Dead games, and then there's an official standalone House of the Dead game for PS3 and the Wii. I love House of the Dead. I think House of the Dead could really benefit from modern gameplay style. It could be an on-rail shooter with controllers, but it would really benefit from VR treatment. Imagine playing House of the Dead on VR. Now, I know for a fact that they can do arcade games on VR because they did something with an old arcade game called Operation Warcade, and this included both the arcade version and a modern version of it. So, in conclusion, I would love to see them do another feature with House of the Dead. Maybe include all 4 House of the Dead games as to play them as if you were playing them on it with an arcade remote, or you can look around and see them coming from all directions, or just do a new House of the Dead game. I think House of the Dead is another great classic series, and I'd love to see a new House of the Dead game. So imagine House of the Dead VR. There could be a VR version, but I don't think there is. Another game series that has really fallen off the map here, and like I said, these aren't necessarily personal games that I really want to see a new one of, but also some ones that are sort of fallen off the edge kind of thing, is Armored Core. I haven't seen an Armored Core game in a long time, you know. I can't remember when there was, what the last Armored Core game was, and that's what I mean. I think there was 6. And yeah, I think a lot of people like Armored Core. I'm kind of okay with it. I don't hate it, but I don't love it kind of thing. It's an okay game series. It would be pretty cool to see Armored Core come back. You know, it's just another game that I put on here because not many people talk about it anymore. So it makes me think, is there going to be another Armored Core game, you know, from software? So who knows, you know? Armored Core, another weird one. I was talking to my friend about this one the other day. Army of Two. I absolutely loved Army of Two 40th Day. The first one was great too. A little bit rough around the edges going back to. And the third one was very bland. But I would love to see another Army of Two game because these were amazing co-op games. Whether or not you like them, Army of Two was such a great game. 40th Day is the one that I recommend to anyone. Ironically, this one doesn't work backwards compatible, but the first one does. What the hell? Whether or not they do a complete package with all 3 games, updated, you know, improved graphics, all that good stuff, or a new Army of Two game, you know, what I loved about Army of Two 40th Day was it had a really unique combat system. It was, you know, co-op, cover-based shooter like a Gears of War clone. However, I love this whole heat system. When you're basically, you have this little heat system above you, and say for example, I'm shooting at the enemies. The heat bar is going to focus on me, which means the enemies are going to focus attacking me. So my friend or whoever I'm playing with can flank the enemies and take less heat. It was a really simple but a great system that worked. And this game had amazing customization for the weapon. Every weapon could be customized, and it was just such a fun game. Really, really fun game. I highly recommend Army of Two if you're playing a co-op game. But I'd say to play the second one if you're only going to play one of them. But I would love to see Army of Two come back in some form or another. I talked about these before, and I would really like to see James Bond come back. We haven't seen James Bond in a long time. Why has there not been a James Bond game on Xbox One, PS4, and Nintendo Switch? Why? You know, it's not like there's no James Bond characters out there. It's not like they can't do more James Bond stuff. You know, the movies aren't exactly being worked on at the moment. So why not work on a James Bond game? I did come up with the idea of maybe an online James Bond game with just multiplayer, like a free-to-play kind of thing where you get all different characters and stuff. I don't know. I would love to see James Bond come back in a video game form because there is still so much stuff that James Bond can be done. These games have often had great story modes, but also amazing multiplayer. And I think people would love to see James Bond come back in the modern day. Another one is kind of a personal one, but I really want to see another Dynasty Warriors Gundam game. There have been plenty of Gundam games been released on PS4 and stuff, especially in Japan and things like that. My favourite one was on PS3, Reborn, and that never came out on Xbox 360 or any other system. Why has Koei Tecmo not done this? You know, Koei Tecmo, if you're listening, guys, Omega Force, please, please, please make a new Gundam game for the PlayStation 4 or Switch or whatever. Even if you just do Gundam Reborn Ultimate Edition, like you do with Samurai Warriors and every other game that you make. I'm not taking the piss or nothing, but I'm just saying I would love to see another Gundam game because these games are just so fun, you know. Just giant mechs, hack and slash, boom, everything, man. Another game that I know a lot of people are going to agree with me, Splinter Cell. Why has there not been a new Splinter Cell game? You know, I know that people kind of, maybe it's because people went off stealth games, you know, and I know that Ubisoft and Tom Clancy's games really went with, you know, they put a lot of effort into the Ghost Recon Wildlands and Breakpoint, Breakthrough, or whatever it was called, Wildlands, but I don't fucking know. And yeah, so why has there not been a Splinter Cell game? You know, obviously Splinter Cell's had a fair share of games, but it's really come off the deep end, really. You know, most of these games are pretty fun games. Even if you're not a big fan of stealth games, I recommend trying at least one Splinter Cell game because they're pretty fun. And I really want to see a new Splinter Cell game come. Maybe I personally wouldn't buy it day one or anything, but I think a lot of people would really appreciate Splinter Cell coming back to them. Another weird and wonderful one that I'm putting out there, the Arms series. Now, there was Wild Arms, but I would really like to see another Enchanted Arms game. I'm not really the biggest JRPG fan, even though I have so many of them. But what I really enjoyed about Enchanted Arms, even though the game isn't amazing, I really like this whole pokey monster system. It used grid-based combat, but what is great is you can find all of these different monsters and, you know, use them in battle kind of thing. I know there's so many JRPGs that do that, but I'd really like to see another Enchanted Arms game. Maybe the ending of this game leaves it unopened to a sequel. I don't know, I've never beat it. But I'd love to see Enchanted Arms come back. And the last one here that I think a lot of people are going to agree with is Stuntman. Oh my god, Stuntman Ignition. This game was my jam growing up. Me and my brothers used to play this game non-stop. This game was more than just a racing game. It was more like a time trial. You basically just had to drive from point A to B, but you had to do all of these movie set things. So driving through lava, doing turns, everything like that, jumping over things. This game was about getting things down to a T. It was about timing, it was about precision, and it was about control. Great game, and there's only 2 Stuntman games. They never made a third one. I know THQ went under, but I'd love to see someone pick up Stuntman, bring Stuntman to the modern day generation. I know there's been other games like Wreckfest and you know, Dangerous Driving and things like that, but a new Stuntman game would be amazing. So anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I just thought about this one off the top of my head and I thought it'd be a pretty fun little video to do. Now, I know there are plenty more games that I've got here that I probably could do another video like this. If you want to see that, feel free to leave a like and of course comment below. Let me know if you think these games would benefit from a remake or a remaster or coming back. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, subscribe and join the family. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram and Twitch at the Mad Tiger. I will be streaming tonight, probably some Overwatch. Last night I streamed Rocket Arena. It was a really fun little game. If you haven't checked it out, I did a stream and it's also on my channel. Watch it and tell me what you think. It's a really fun little game. I was very surprised by it. But I think we're going back to Overwatch tonight and having a chill one tonight. So as always guys, have a nice day and I will see you in the next video. Take care and bye bye.